1, 2, 3.
Hello, welcome to Rock the Cash Bar. I'm Ben Mowbray.
And I'm Diane Gallagher.
Every week we pick one song and do a deep dive into the lyrics and explain the different ways they've been interpreted.
We will also discuss how the song connected to us on a personal level, focusing on all the embarrassing details.
Glad to have you here. Enjoy the show.
Let me run with you tonight. I'll take you on a moonlight ride. Sorry, I just love that. That's just the greatest intro line ever. Let me run with you tonight. I'll take you on a moonlight ride. How you doing, Diane?
I'm doing good.
What is this? 102 for us? 102, and
Episode.
Finally we made it down the end of the road to Tom Petty.
I mean, what took us so long? What are we doing?
I really thought we would have got here much earlier. Certainly in the first 30. We are here with a very funny man from Cincinnati, Ohio, comedian Geoff Tate. Geoff, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Hello.
You picked Tom Petty and you picked the song Something Big. I usually start off by asking guests like how did they meet the artist that they chose, or why you could have picked anybody. Why'd you pick Tom?
All right. Well, those are those questions are kind of the same question, but
yeah.
All right. So I was raised very religious. My father was a minister, and I did not get to listen to any good songs. And then I remember I was 15 and I was the first time I got into a car of somebody who was my age and not someone's parents.
Interesting.
And I heard Mary Jane's Last Dance. And I was like, oh, this is much better than any of the other stuff I've been allowed to listen to. But I didn't I knew it was great, but it wasn't my favorite band yet. I just was I was like, well, I'm just going to listen to the radio and figure it out. And then it wasn't until, so that was 93, and it wasn't until Echo came out in 99. So I bought that album the day it came out. I heard them on Rockline a couple of nights before, and they played 4 or 5 songs off the album, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go get this album. It came out on Tuesday, and within 2 months of that coming out, I had all the rest of the albums. I was like, well, now I just have to get everything, because I think I had 4 at that point, the 2 solo albums, Damn the Torpedoes and the Greatest Hits, probably.
Yeah.
Damn the Torpedoes is amazing because you could almost think that it is a greatest hits album. I mean, it's just packed with hits.
Yeah, it's got a lot. It's got 5.
Isn't it crazy how we do that? We come to these artists at a certain age and we love the songs, and then we just start going backwards in time. We're just like, now I have to know everything that they've ever done. Because a lot of bands I started loving where they were 17 albums in, and I had to go backwards after that.
Yeah, and some guys are just like, where do you start? Like Bob Dylan. I don't own a single Dylan record. I know he's great. I know the songs. I'm just like, where do you start? What album do you buy first? I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Blonde on Blonde.
Yep. I'm making a note. Done. Finally, somebody has an answer for me.
I mean, Bob Dylan is like The Simpsons, man. I like Bob Dylan, and I probably have 22 Bob Dylan albums, and it's not even half.
God, that's insane.
I probably haven't even heard half the albums.
There's some weird stat my husband told me the other day about how long it would take to listen to every single Bob Dylan song. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's got to be at least a week, right?
It's more than that. It's crazy. What's really fun about me is I remember conversations and details really well. I don't remember what he said, but I just remember I was like, what? That doesn't even make sense. But yeah, it's crazy.
Who would do that? Why would you put yourself through that? And that has to count all the bootleg stuff, all the not the sanctioned bootlegs, at least all those 5-disc live things.
Yeah. The reason why we're talking about it is we have a guest coming on in March who recently put himself through listening to every single Rolling Stones song ever. And it took him a long time. And I was telling Corbin that, and he was like, that doesn't even impress me. Try doing it with Dylan. And that's when he told me that.
Has he done it with Dylan?
No, but I guess he had read somewhere that it would take a crazy amount of time to hear it all.
Oh, well, talk to me when he's done it. Reading about it don't impress me.
Awesome. All right, so tell us why. I mean, because it's so funny when I asked you to do the podcast, because you always have these great like music posts and stuff. You were like, all right, I'm narrowing it down from like 400 songs. And then I saw you post something about Tom Petty, and I was like, hey, we haven't done Petty. And you're like, all right, I'm narrowing it down from 400 Tom Petty songs. So what brought us here? What brought us to something big?
Well, it's like the opening scene of a movie. I would like.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything that happens in that song. I mean, it's like 5 minutes long for a song, but if all that played out in a movie, they wouldn't even drop the title card till that was done.
Yeah.
And then I want to see the rest of that movie.
It's a Pulp Fiction opener, isn't it? Yeah. Or like, like that director.
It's film noir. It's Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, it really does have that feel to it. It really, really does. Let's do the lyrics real quick. Let's get through this one. This is Something Big by Tom Petty.
Well, it didn't feel like Sunday, didn't feel like June, when it met his silent partner in that lonely corner room.
Well, it didn't feel like Sunday, it didn't feel like June when he met his silent partner in that lonely corner room. Yeah. That overlooked the marquee of the Plaza All Adult.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
Yeah, this is seedy. And he wasn't looking for romance, just someone he could trust.
Hold on. I want to know what comes to your head when he says silent partner.
Anything. Like it just goes all over the place. When I hear silent partner, like it makes me think of like obviously this is a business deal. I mean, it sounds like it's a seedy business deal. It could be guns, it could be drugs, it could be something like that. But it's also like it also makes me feel like this guy's a mover and a shaker. He's a deal swinging loser. Like he's
because they're not meeting at Starbucks. Like, look at the setting.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The corner room is like it's his hotel room, but in one of those like 1950s small town men's only type hotels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does feel like Amarillo Slim. Like overlooking the pool hall, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They gotta share a bathroom.
Yeah.
that kind of nonsense.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you're reading these words and it's just like these words smell like cigarettes and urine.
Yeah.
All right.
And there wasn't no way to carry on. There wasn't no way to land, but he could put up with it for a little while. He was working on something big.
The chorus, and it wasn't no way to carry on. It wasn't no way to live.
Oh wait, hold on. Did you miss? And he was looking for romance, just someone he could trust.
Yeah, he wasn't looking for romance, just someone he could trust.
Okay.
And it wasn't no way to carry on. It wasn't no way to live, but he could put up with it for a little while. He was working on something big. So this guy's got that idea. He's got the get rich quick scheme coming. He's about to hatch his plot.
Yeah, it's some kind of a bootlegging, maybe. I mean, I think about it all the time, and I have no idea what the actual crime is, but it's for sure a crime.
I've had, same way. My brain went so many places. Like, is he looking for murder for hire? Is he talking to a hitman? He's planning something big. And then part of my brain just went, this is a guy locked up in a hotel. The silent partner thing could have just been his drug dealer, and he's working on his novel or his script, his movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's just doing a bunch of blow and speed, but he's working on something big. Tap, 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 tap,
Yeah, the first time I listened to the song, which I hadn't heard this song until yesterday or the day before. And the first time I heard it, I thought it was more innocent than I did like the second or third time through. Like the first time through, I thought it was just like, this guy he could be setting up a legitimate business, like he's meeting with his silent partner. He wants to open up a bar. He wants to open up a restaurant. He's got an idea for a used bookstore. He needs some seed money for his Etsy account. Like it could be anything. Like we're all working on something big. It's just that it's going to go real wrong for this guy pretty quickly.
I don't know. You still got to think they're not meeting at Starbucks. There's something shady going on here.
For sure.
And it's a Sunday, and it's nighttime. Like the further into it we get, the more we know about strictly the setting of this meeting. We don't learn very much else, but we learn what kind of town it is. Like once you get into that second verse, it's Sunday, it's nighttime.
Yeah.
It's a hotel called the Plaza All Adult.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a used bookstore.
No. You don't bring your kids. There's no Motel 6 pool here.
They're not even allowed.
No.
I think you learn a lot about the guy in the very next line. Speedball rang the night clerk. You gotta be pretty far down the road to get nicknamed Speedball.
Yeah.
That is not a recreational user.
Right? And the night clerk, you don't call it the night clerk unless it is third shift.
Yes, this is 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speedball rang the night clerk, said, send me up a drink. The night clerk said, it's Sunday, man. Wait a minute, let me think.
Right, so it's one of those towns in the South that don't serve on Sunday. It's not allowed. Dry county or something.
But I like how the clerk is used to his clientele, and he's like, "Hold on, let me think. Let me see what I got."
Exactly. That's the kind of place. Like he's not just taking money and watching the door. You know, like no, you're here to do some shit.
Yeah.
Right.
They call you up. You got to hook them up. Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is Speedball. In the corner room. He's definitely. I can't blow this guy off.
Yeah.
There's a little place outside of town that might still have some wine. And this is what I like. Speedball said, forget it. Can I have an outside line? So the wine's not going to be good enough for Speedball. He needs to talk to the guy. He needs to talk to the other guy.
Right. The possibility of some wine is not good enough.
No, that's not going to cut it. Let's call my guy instead.
Yeah. He goes through the chorus again. It wasn't no way to carry on. It wasn't a way to live, but he could put up with it for a little while. He was working on something big. And this is where the story changes and shifts, and it leaves an opening that says that the last verse is, it was Monday when the day maids found the still made bed, all except the pillows that lay stacked up at the head. And one said, I know I've seen his face. I wonder who he is. And the other said, he's probably just another clown working on something big.
I love that.
Whoa, yeah. Menacing. Yeah, the maids find a body and don't give a fuck.
Oh, wait, he's dead?
You don't think he's dead? I think he's dead.
I thought he left.
Yeah. Oh, you thought he was gone.
I thought he left and he didn't, like, they walk in. I mean, if you walk into a room in the morning and the bed is not being, like, obviously the bed was not used.
Right.
Speedball is a nighttime guy.
Yeah.
So he was not sleeping. He just because like I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And every time I hear that part of the song, I think of all the hotel rooms I've left like that.
Oh, that you've abandoned?
Yeah, where I just like decided I didn't want to stay there that night, or I didn't want to stay in that town and I wanted to just get home or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've done it as recently as a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I had a room in Knoxville and was like, the show got done and I was like, well, fuck this. It's only 4 hours.
I was driving home.
Yeah. And I didn't. So when the day maid came into the room in the morning, it was all I had done was stack up those pillows and watch like a half hour of TV before I had to go to the show, and then just never went back to the room.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would be with you. And I did, when I was just reading the lyrics, when I saw all except the stacked up pillows at the head, I was with you. I thought, oh, he bailed. But it's where she says, I've seen his face. I wonder who he is.
Yeah.
I think they're looking at him.
Really makes me think that they're staring down at him. Like he's not on the bed.
Wow.
He's in the bathroom
All right.
or something like that. Or he's between the beds.
Maybe he's dead. I'm going to have to do this again. Holy shit.
It is mysterious because he isn't up front with it. If they didn't say, I know I've seen his face, I think everybody would assume he left. But
I thought it was because they saw him when he checked in.
Oh,
could be.
Like that's just always like
wrong.
I never thought about it as him being dead, so I got to think about it some more now.
I think when he says forget it, can I call an outside line? I think he's definitely calling his dealer. Like he's going to shoot up or snort or whatever. Yeah, and his name is Speedball. Like whatever the hell it is. Like this is the last dance with Speedball.
Yeah, and it sounds like
it was present tense. Working. He was working on something big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting. The only reason I think I got swayed to him being dead too is because usually I do a lot of research on song facts where they give a lot of like information about the artist, and the artist will sometimes in interview say what the song's about. I couldn't find anything on this, so I'm just reading reader comments, and everybody was saying that the guy was dead. So, and that, I think that's when I was like, oh, okay, so he is dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are these reader comments?
I know.
I don't know about any of this stuff.
Yeah, go look at like some YouTube stuff and just like I can't.
I swear I've heard this song before.
You picked it. Isn't that crazy though? When something blows your mind, you're like, oh, I didn't. We do that all the time on this podcast, right? I didn't think of it that way at all. You know, and you kind of get like, what?
Yeah, I can definitely see it. I can see it the way Geoff is saying, where he's just like he's just fled, he's just abandoned it. You know, he's stuck the maids with the tab.
But there's like Tom Petty rarely explains the songs, and he also like he has a like in enough of the documentaries and stuff in the books that he does just kind of believe in songwriting magic, where like he doesn't know where it comes from. He doesn't he didn't sit down to write this song. He doesn't know this person, and he just like wrote a song and out it came. So there's that. There's not that many. There was like the song you started with, You Don't Know How It Feels.
Yeah.
That one was, he does explain that, where he's just like, everyone sings about drinking, so I wrote a song about, like, I just intentionally was like, this guy smokes weed.
Yeah.
And there was another one where the song You Wreck Me,
Uh-huh.
the original chorus of that was You Rock Me. And he just was like, oh, we should change it. Everyone says this.
And wreck is way more interesting than rock.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast with Rick Rubin, who produced what's this song? Let Me Ride With You Tonight. What's the name of that song? Why can't I remember?
You Don't Know How It Feels, right? You
Don't Know How It Feels. Yeah, he was talking about when they were producing You Don't Know How It Feels. Rick Rubin suggested we're going to steal the beat from Steve Miller. And so if you listen to You Don't Know How It Feels and then listen to Space Cowboy by Steve Miller, you see that it's the same like groove through it. Like it absolutely blew my mind this morning when I listened to that. Like, holy crap, it really, really is.
I always thought that sounded like that the drum sound from Out on the Weekend, that Neil Young song.
Yeah, it kind of does. It does have that sort of clap to it. But
yeah, so they just combined a couple of good things.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
The groove, man.
It's interesting that you guys are talking about that, because I have all this research on how he was a staunch guardian of his artistic control and artistic freedom, and it looks like he really cared a lot about how like corporations or politicians used his music, which was basically like, don't fucking use it. Especially if I don't agree with your politics. But he was very kind of a lot more fluid with letting other artists use and sample his work. There was one time there was a lawsuit that he kind of had to go along with and had to get paid a percentage. And that was Sam Smith's song, Stay With Me. It said in 2015, it was revealed that Petty and Jeff Lynne would receive royalties from Sam Smith's song Stay With Me after its writers acknowledged the similarities between it and I Won't Back Down, which I've heard both of these songs, and I'm gonna have to go back and be like, okay, where is it? But the same thing happened with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Danny California, and Tom Petty's Mary Jane's Last Dance. And in both of these situations, Petty's kind of like, it happens, you know, he's very like easygoing about both of these situations. He doesn't really like lawsuits, and he's like, sometimes music sounds the same or whatever. So that's really interesting what you guys were talking about, that like he sampled something else.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, they can do it. I think if you acknowledge it, then that kind of takes the stink off of it, right? Because musicians know that, you know, a guy that only knows 3 chords can still write a song. You know, like there's only so many sounds that you can make, so you have to be allowed the freedom to use those chords, right? Nobody owns a chord.
Right.
You could write Space Cowboy with those 3 chords. Because the Sam Smith thing is like how Katie Lang has co-writing credit on that Rolling Stone song.
Okay.
The chorus is exactly the constant craving song is the same chorus as Anybody See My Baby, like the same progressions. And Stay With Me is the same as Won't Back Down. Like,
I hear it. I just heard it.
Yeah. It's the same. And then in that I've read something about that too. It probably was the same thing, and then he just flat out goes, I don't do this all the time. I never sued the Strokes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that first Stroke, like Last Night or whatever, is just the first Tom Petty album.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole first, like the first two Kings of Leon records are early Tom Petty.
Yeah,
and
you're
now
right.
they're U2 or something. I don't know what they're doing now, but
yeah, it says, okay, yeah, this is Petty told Rolling Stone, I seriously doubt that there's any negative intent there. He's talking about the Chili Peppers. And a lot of rock and roll songs sound alike. Ask Chuck Berry. The Strokes took American Girl for their song Last Night. And I saw an interview with them and they actually admitted it. That made me laugh out loud. I was like, okay, good for you. If someone took my song note for note and stole it maliciously, then maybe I'd sue, but I don't believe in lawsuits much. I think there are enough frivolous lawsuits in this country without people fighting over pop songs.
That's funny. A guy say I don't believe in lawsuits much, and he sued his record company twice. But for good reason each time. Like, I know he was fucked.
But he did something super cool. So I'll read this. When this album, Hard Promises, came out, it was slated to be the next MCA release with the new list price of $9.98 following Steely Dan's Guacho and am I saying Guacho right? Guacho, and Olivia Newton-John's Electric Light Orchestra Xanadu soundtrack. This so-called, and they put it in quotes, superstar pricing was $1 more than the usual list price. And Petty objected to it and got pissed off and like stood against like the $1 increase in price. Where I was like, all right, so he's fighting for us, you know?
Yeah, they were gonna do it because Damn the Torpedoes sold 5 million records or whatever, so they were like, we could charge more for this one, and they did not agree with him when he said no. So when he turned the album in, he called it $8.98.
Yeah.
And so they were gonna have to slap a $9.98 sticker on an album called $8.98.
Yeah,
and the record label was like,
brilliant.
Oh, come on, man. And then they just didn't do it, and they did it on they raised the price on a Stones album a few months later
to make up for that, what they thought they were going to make there.
I mean, they were just trying to raise the price, and Tom was like, it's not going to be my record that does it.
Nice. That's really cool. Like, good for him. Yeah, that's funny. That when I was talking about like corporate America and the politicians, the corporate America thing was just, I think, what I just talked about. But for the politicians, there was a B.F. Goodrich thing that wanted to use Mary's new car in a TV commercial, and he was like, no. And then they did it, and then he sued. I think. Am I reading that right? Did you read that?
I didn't read.
I don't know. No. I don't know the specifics of that somehow, but I know he's never been in a commercial.
Yeah.
There was one time Running Down a Dream was in RBI baseball commercial, the Major League Baseball's charity that builds baseball fields in cities.
And he was.
That was the only time. Yeah, it was the only time I ever saw a song in a commercial.
Yeah, I like it that he's like, I'm very choosy about where my shit is, which makes me interested. Like, I cut in like clips of the song in this podcast, and I wonder if I'm going to get a copyright claim. Like, no, Rock the Cash Bar, you don't get to use it. But this is, you gotta love him for this. He disallowed George W. Bush from using "I Won't Back Down" in his 2000 presidential campaign, and his family did the same when Donald Trump tried to use it in 2020, stating that Tom Petty would never want a song of his used for a campaign of hate.
Yes.
Yeah, they got those conservatives get real mad when you don't get to use because in like 2012 or something, Michelle Bachmann was using American Girl.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, don't do that.
No, ma'am.
Everyone got mad. And then you think about it, it's like, this idiot doesn't even, like, the girl in the song loses.
Yeah, they never listen to the lyrics. This happens all the time with politicians. Born in the USA and Fortunate Son are not what you think they are.
Yeah, right? Like, Bernie is the only one who could use those.
Exactly. People don't pay attention. They don't pay attention to the lyrics. There was something else. God, it just slipped my mind that I wanted to mention about that. There was a fun fact that while recording this album, during the recording of it, John Lennon was scheduled to be in the same studio at the same time And Petty was really looking forward to meeting with him when he came in, and the meeting never happened because John Lennon was murdered before the date of this planned visit to the studio.
Oh, that is a fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
fun for us, not for John.
Here's a fun one. Tom Petty met Elvis Presley in 1961. He met peak Elvis, not Elvis, not late Elvis in the 70s. 1961, good looking, olive skinned, glowing Elvis.
Elvis, when the Colonel started making him make all those kitschy movies that he did through all the 60s, not before he got burnt out on doing them, like he was still like jazzed about doing them. That's when Petty met him.
Yeah. Can you imagine laying your own human eyes on Elvis Presley in 1961 when I think he was like 11 years old?
He was like 10 or 11.
It's gotta be mind-blowing. I guess his uncle was working on the film set and invited Tom to come down and see it. I just can't imagine like staring up at Elvis Presley.
I mean, it definitely seemed like it blew his mind.
Yeah. Well,
it changed the course of his entire life.
It's amazing.
Sure.
Yeah. It said that, he was like 10 and his quote was that, I guess, can you imagine this cute little 10-year-old boy going, he glowed. That's what he was quoted as saying, that Elvis Presley glowed.
I wonder if that made it easier for Tom Petty to be in the Traveling Wilburys, because like absolutely no disrespect to Tom, but I think at the time, like in the mid 80s, like Petty's only 10 years into his legendary career, so he's not the Tom Petty we know today. He's basically new to being a rock star, and all of a sudden you're standing around a microphone with Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, and George Harrison. That's got to be like crazy. Where do you get the confidence to do that? By staring at Elvis Presley when you're 10.
Well, also by being the goddamn backbone of that band.
Yeah. He's the one who put it together, right? He's like,
he wrote half of the songs. That second one is like 80% Tom Petty. Dylan wasn't really involved. Orbison had died.
Yeah.
So the second Traveling Wilburys album is like essentially a Petty album. The first one he's all over it. It was his guitar player.
Yeah, I think it takes the young guy's energy to be like, you, we're going to do this. All right, I'll do most of the work. And these old guys are like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Well, they said that, he met Elvis and that was great. But then he said it wasn't until he saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan that he was like, this is what I'm doing. Like he dropped out of high school at 17, started a band. He said he just no doubt in his mind, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be good at this. This is what I'm doing with my life.
Elvis is like seeing a space alien.
Yeah.
Or a ghost, or like when you see someone that's so famous, like if I had met, I don't know, when I was 10 years old, it was 1988. So who was the biggest comic in 1988? Like if I had met
Bill Carlin, he was still alive.
Yeah. Or if I had met or
Kinnison.
Yeah. Or unfortunately Cosby probably was the biggest one.
Yeah.
But you don't see him and think, oh, I can do that.
Mm-mm.
But then when you turn on the Tonight Show and you see a 27-year-old Drew Carey with his suit and glasses, and he's just some kid doing stand-up, and you're like, maybe I could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
This one also kind of feels like I don't mean to be too grim, but this song, like the first time through it kind of made me feel like Death of a Comedian in a way.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like you were talking about all the motels and things that you stayed in. I didn't get on the road nearly as much as I wanted to, but the times that I did, I always felt like that loneliness that comics are always talking about. Just like I could just disappear here, and who's coming for me? Like it's
right.
Just,
how many? If a club has used the same hotel for a long time, there's been at least one person has died in that hotel. At least one comic.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way.
It's always so sad. Every road comic talks about just how fucking lonely the hotels on the road are.
Well, I mean, it's not the worst. I mean,
it depends on, if you're single and there's ladies, or if you're enjoying your recreationals, maybe it's not so bad.
There's not as many ladies in comedy as you're led to believe, Diane, I'm afraid.
It depends on where your bar is, Ben.
Well, that's true for anything. There's ladies everywhere if you have a real sliding scale.
Yeah. The girl with the bullet wound, like, get in here, girl.
I watched a couple of your clips on YouTube, and you know who you remind me of? You remind me a lot of Jake Johansson, who is like my early
Oh yeah.
hero. Yeah, because it's really long form, but very punchline oriented storytelling. Like it seems to me like most of your bits are 10 or 15 minutes long,
Yeah,
but
they can be.
but you're never more than 10 seconds away from a punchline. Like you said, like you just mine everything out of it the way that Jake was so good at, or is so good at. Like I was really impressed watching you. You're just a great tactician. Is it tactician the word? Technician.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I'll take it.
Like,
both are fine. It's tactical.
Want to keep giving me like praise? Go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's interesting because I like Jake a lot. I've gotten to work with him a couple times. I kind of know him a little bit now, and it's like it blows my mind. I saw that young comedian special when I was young, the one that was in where like each person did a set in a different club, and his was at the Punchline in San Francisco, and Robin Williams was the one introducing him.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I was like, I remember the first time I met him, I was like, how was that? That's got to be wild. You got to follow Robin Williams. And he goes, Robin Williams did 55 minutes.
Oh my God.
So it's worse than you think.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
I saw his special. I think this will take about an hour, which I think came out in like 89 or 90 or something like that. And I swear I had it memorized when I was a kid. I just watched it over and over and over again. It was just amazing.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, he's great. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. I mean, there's been some issues with traveling lately, so I haven't seen a lot of people in a few years, but
yeah,
that's when I try to rectify.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We all have like our first like comedy albums that we memorized, and my parents unfortunately watched a lot of Gallagher when I was young. And now my last name is Gallagher. They loved him, but it was also, we had a VHS tape that we taped off like, the TV, and it always started with Buddy Hackett and then Bill Cosby's himself, and then it went into Carlin and then Gallagher. I think I'm still stuck in the 60s. And I always just watched Cosby's himself, and I had that thing memorized. I mean, word for word. So good.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Yep. Buddy Hackett, I could never get into. I was like, this is a little old for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what does Buddy Hackett do?
I don't know. I fast forward it every time. Get to Cosby.
He definitely, every time I've seen him, I've never seen him do stand-up. I'm like aware of what he looks like. And so in my head, I've created his act as just, it's like pies to the face. That's what I think his whole hour is getting a pie to the face.
Mine is just fast forwarded black and white action. Like I just never
no pies.
I don't think I even remember.
You'd remember if it was a pie to the face.
I think I would.
In fast forward, you would remember.
I'm just like full of the fun facts over here. I just thought this was fun. Just on his Petty's personal life, is he married Jane Benyo in 74, and then they divorced in 96. And Benyo, am I saying that right? Benyo, is that her name? I've never heard it said
out loud, so but that sounds right.
Benyo once told mutual friend Stevie Nicks that she had met Petty at the age of 17. Nicks misheard her North Florida accent, inspiring the title of her song, Edge of 17.
No way.
Isn't that cool?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from.
Yep.
And the Heartbreakers are the band on that song. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're the band on that album, the whole Belladonna album.
Wow.
I'm just picturing the accent. Like, I met him at the age of 17. Like, how did she have to say it for Stevie to mishear it, like not understand it like that?
Well, cocaine affects your hearing. That's definitely true.
We did Landslide early on this podcast. And I have a great theory about, everybody doesn't understand what she's saying. And I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hill. And I was like, she's looking down at a mirror with a pile of cocaine on it. That's what
yeah.
the snow-covered hill is. And no one agrees with me.
Well, I didn't know that guy died in something big, but I definitely thought that was cocaine.
Okay, all right.
That's a safe bet too. And if you're listening to any rock and roll song from like 75 to 84 or whatever, if it seems like it might be about cocaine, it's probably about cocaine.
About cocaine. This is how little I knew about Petty. I mean, we all know, that his death was ruled an accidental overdose, but I didn't know from 96 to 99 that he actually had a heroin addiction.
I didn't know that either.
I think it was a little before that.
No, that's what my notes say. But yeah, he said it was he blamed the emotional pain from the dissolution of his marriage to Benyo as a major contributing cause, but later said that using heroin went against his grain. He didn't want to be enslaved to anything, and he eventually got treatment and got clean.
Yeah, he just kicked it but just because he was like, oh, this isn't me. I don't know. I don't know why I started talking.
I don't want to do heroin. And let's stop. It's usually not the path of that, but we don't have to talk about his death that much. But he had a lot of issues going on, a lot of pains, a lot of physical problems. But he was on tour.
He had a broken hip.
Yeah, he had a broken hip. He had all kinds of shit
for that whole tour. He had a broken hip.
Yeah.
Oh god.
The drummer would put his arm he'd put his arm over the drummer's shoulder, and the drummer would put his arm under and walk him up the steps.
Oh god.
He did 44 shows like that or something, and then
yeah, I'd be doing some drugs too.
Yeah, and it was prescription drugs.
Yeah,
it was a painkiller he had been prescribed, and he was going. It happened on a Sunday, and he had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday to finally get it taken care of. So close.
So sad. All right, so let's go ahead and check in with Jeremy Essig now with 6 Degrees of Tinted Windows and see how he connected supergroup Tinted Windows to Tom Petty. Let's watch together.
Hey friends, welcome to the Geoff Tate edition of 6 Degrees, where this week we're going to attempt to connect to the other Heartbreakers using their well-respected keyboardist, Benmont Tench. Now, the easiest path would be to use his work on Cheap Trick frontman's Robin Zander's solo album, but since we did Cheap Trick last week, let's instead look at Benmont's work with Neil Diamond on the latter's 2005 album, 12 Songs, an album that also featured Heartbreakers guitarist Mike Campbell. More than 40 years earlier, Neil Diamond would compose the hit I'm a Believer for the Monkees, who themselves would still be going strong a year after the release of 12 Songs with their own album, Good Times, the band's 12th, which would be produced by Tinted Windows co-founder and bassist Adam Schlesinger. So this week we went Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers to Neil Diamond to the Monkees to Tinted Windows. Back to Diane and Ben. Miss you, Geoff.
It's a recorded. I just waved at a recording.
You're like, hi. That's great. Yeah, that super group is have you ever heard of Tinted Windows?
I have not.
It's it's James Eha. It's one of the brothers from Hanson, a guy from Cheap Trick, and what's the other? I can't remember the fourth.
Adam Schlesinger.
Yeah,
it was the name he said.
But what band is that?
He's from Fountains of Wayne.
Fountains of Wayne.
He was one of the early COVID casualties.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I believe he passed in early 2020.
John Prine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might have been before John Prine.
Oh my God.
Right.
Oh, that's really sad. I didn't know that.
Or it's a different guy from Fountains of Wayne, and this will be why you get sued.
All right.
I am very much alive.
It's a little too soon to call it a fun fact.
Okay. All right. Something little less sad. I love this part. Geoff, do you have a guilty pleasure song?
Oh, this one I know for sure. I know the worst. It's the worst song I like.
Okay. I love it when people, there's so many people when I ask this question, they're like, I don't know, what's a guilty pleasure? I mean, I don't feel guilty about anything, but I love when people are like, yes, it's awful and I love it. Go.
It's Cowboy by Kid Rock.
Riding at night 'cause I sleep all day. Cowboy, baby.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh. Yeah. But any song that's worse than that is bad.
I think I had early on Bob with the Bob as one of my guilty pleasures. So I was like, why does it pump me up though?
It's supposed to. It's effective. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do.
And then the duet he does with Sheryl Crow is fucking great. Like, come on, Kid Rock. Like, make your music match your personality. Be cooler than you are.
I'm almost grateful for him because he's so terrible that I have an answer to this. Right? Like, it's because of him. It's not the cowboy part that I feel guilty about. It's the Kid Rock part that I feel guilty about.
No.
He's such a piece of shit that I wish I didn't like any of his songs, but I do. But I don't feel that, like, there's a lot of dumb songs I like. I like that New Radical song a lot, but I don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, but those guys, like, they seem fine. They're not actively trying to overthrow democracy or whatever Kid Rock is up to. So that I just get like, I do feel a little guilty when I play that song. I like to play it in bars. When I don't play any other songs, I just play that one, and then nobody knows it was me.
Oh, that's really good. I mean, I haven't, I'm a 44-year-old mom now. I don't spend a whole lot of time in bars. Are there still jukeboxes? Like, because usually a bartender has control of a playlist. Like, are there still jukeboxes where you get to go pick?
Yeah. At the bar that I work at, we split it 50-50, where the jukebox is there, and if you put money in it, that gets priority. But our playlist supersedes it when nobody's playing the jukebox.
Is it a Touch Tunes or a regular disc?
No, it's the disc one.
Oh,
I do like the disc ones, but there's like the bar, like one of the bars in my neighborhood has a disc one, but it needs to be refreshed. It is not.
Yeah.
It's so full of full of fucking hipster nonsense.
Oh,
That like it's like gone too far, down to hipster nonsense.
It's not being thoughtfully curated. I hate the digital jukebox that can play any song that's ever been written. I think that's a terrible thing to have in your bar.
Yeah.
Because all you need is a guy with a fistful of quarters and a heart full of hate to ruin your Friday night.
It's just
but that can happen anyway.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
It's easier to skip when it's digital.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Excellent point. Okay, I'm coming around on it a little bit.
Also, you can decide what goes on it on the Touch Tunes. Like the venue, the bar can peel stuff off. So you don't have to give access to everything. Just put every Tom Petty album on there, and then it'll be fine.
That's the answer for everything.
That's the one thing I like about it is that I can play wild Tom Petty stuff that you can't if it's a disc playing thing.
Yeah. Did you guys ever have a go-to? Like in my 20s, I had a go-to when I went to the jukebox, and I was like, I always looked for it and always played this song. Did you ever have one that you always went and played?
I think Roll with the Changes.
Okay.
But I like that song in a bar. It's a fun bar song.
All right. I discovered Marvin Gaye in my early 20s when I was like 21 and I was allowed to go to the bars for the first time. And I would always play Let's Get It On.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Wow. What kind of bars was this?
It was a hole in the wall in front of my neighborhood off like the suburbs of 1960. But I mean, I was just so in awe of Marvin Gaye because I didn't grow up with it. Like my dad had complete control of the radio and all the music growing up. So I just knew Skinnerd and Deep Purple. And then, my mom liked country. So it was like the Judds and George Strait. And then I finally got some like black soul music going in the bar.
Yeah.
It was good.
I'd say 21-year-old you playing Let's Get It On. I bet that was a bar full of jaws on the floor and broken hearts.
And I was getting it on with nobody in there. All right. All right, Ben, where'd you go? There he goes. All right, Geoff, before we let you go, promote yourself. Where can the listeners hear and see more of you?
See, I'm having a website built right now, so it's not done yet. But when it's done, that's where you'll go. It'll be JeoffTateComedy.com.
Geoff Tate Comedy. All right, I'll put it in the show notes. And then your socials, I think Instagram is Geoff Tate and Twitter is Geoff Tate 96.
Yeah. I got Instagram with my name,
Yeah.
But that guy from Queensrÿche has fucked everything up.
That's what it is. Sorry.
So I can't get GeoffTate.com. I can't get Geoff Tate on Twitter. He got him, but he didn't know about Instagram before me.
Nice. Why couldn't he have spelled his name Jeff? You're like, come on, I should have had this one.
His name is spelled like that.
What?
The Jeffrey part of his name is spelled Jeffrey, and when he shortened it to the one with the G, like a real fucking asshole.
What a turd. Like he was after you. Well, I hate that.
Well, I do like knowing that he knows about me.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been on the radio together. He's seen my headshot at some of his shows.
Nice. That's awesome.
Which is funny because the reverse is that, like, I've had people tag the wrong stuff or whatever for my shows, but nobody's ever used his headshot for one of my shows. You see that headshot, you're like, this is for sure not what we booked.
That is so funny. That is so awesome. I have a similar thing. There's a CNN news anchor named Diane Gallagher, and I get tagged in her shit all the time. And now we just joke about it. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun when they're fun about it. He's not very fun.
Oh,
but he was he couldn't be. Apparently the people on the, like, when I was on the radio with him, like in the studio with him, and then he left, everyone in that radio station was like, well, that was the best he's ever been. Like, he's usually such a dick, but he couldn't be like, you can't be real cocky when there's just some guy and you know about it, because that's where your relevance is too. Kind of brought him down a peg or two.
He didn't have any silent lucidity about
Yeah, he just had to be a little humble. It's like a little humbling to be like, people are using this guy's headshot? Me?
I had a little panic moment when I said that, because I was like, wait, is that the right guy? That is the right guy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only song I know by Queensrÿche, I think.
You know Jet City Woman, probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But don't dig any deeper.
Okay.
It gets much worse.
That's fun. Well, Geoff, this was awesome. I was so excited to do a Tom Petty, and I'm sure we'll do another one. Like, so many songs. There's so many things I want to talk about with Petty, but it would just be a 5-hour long podcast.
It really would be. There was a Rolling Stone article, Tom Petty's 50 greatest songs. And first of all, it's amazing that you can make an article with 50 greatest songs. And then I went through it and I was just like, they don't have this one. They don't have that one.
Yeah, right.
More they could have done.
I saw that. I saw that and was like, how'd they missed? How are you gonna have 50 greatest songs and you missed 22? You gotta have. It's yeah, I would love if you want to do a 5-hour long one. I won't be so hungover.
Okay. Maybe we'll
I'm not
come
gonna
back.
promise none. I'm not gonna promise none hungover. I will promise less hungover.
Okay.
You were great. It was good to talk to you.
You did a great job just as you are. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you soon. I'm gonna kick you out.
He's a fun guy, and he really was working through a hangover.
You
I'm a
can see it.
bartender. I can tell. He didn't have to tell me. Yeah. I think he woke up, realized he was hungover, and got very high. Like, it's the only thing that's going to fix this.
It's the only thing that's going to make him feel better.
Yeah.
All right. So next week, I'm really excited about this. I really am. I really flipped back and forth. I was like, maybe let's do Lana Del Rey. And I was going to make you uncomfortably read the lyrics to Gods and Monsters, because it's just dark and good. And I love that song. But then I was like, you know what? No, we're going to steal a line from our lovely ladies at Dumb Love podcast. We're going to go to Happy Town, and we're going to do an artist who is the only celebrity I've ever considered having tattooed on my skin. I think she's the only woman besides Betty White that is loved by everyone, every single person in the whole world. So yes, we are going to go Dolly Parton, and we're going to go simple. We're going to go fun, and we're going to do Jolene.
Yes. Perfect. I'm excited.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Jolene. All right. So I'm saving it for the pod. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh.
1, 2, 3.
Rock the Cash Bar is produced by Diane Gallagher. Music by Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins. Special thank you to Jeremy Essig for 6 Degrees and to Sara Wessling for the Guilty Pleasures vocals. Our website is rockthecashbarpodcast.com, and there you can find links to our Spotify playlist and to our Patreon. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.